Hi, Marina, another video. This one is going to be a review, and the book that I'm going to review today is this one. Welcome to our Hillbrow by Phaswane Mpe from South Africa. This book tells the story of Refunse. From the very first sentence in this book, we know that Refunse died. And so the role of the narrator is going to be to just let us know what went on in his life and what led to his death. We don't know in the beginning why or where or when he died, but he is going to tell us step by step what Refunse went through prior to his death. The story is also told in a typically African way of telling stories. Like we are told that his name is Refunse, the son of this tribe. He comes from Teralong and is a descendant of this family, that family. And all along the story, this will be repeated. So it's a kind of warning for those of you who are not used to that. That's how the story is somehow being to be told. So Refunse left Teralong to go to Johannesburg to pursue his studies, and he eventually ended up becoming a professor, a good one, but not good enough to teach black people, but not good enough to make as much money as his white counterpart. The story set within 1990 and 1999. Okay, so it's a decade, it's a long decade that we follow in the life of Refunse. So as we follow him, we discover the different love of his life. The first one that he had, that he left when he left the village. The new one that he encountered when he made it to Johannesburg, thinking that she was the good one, the final one, the one he will settle with. And as we go through, we discover also the spreading of HIV in the country through different stories that have been told to us. Because this sickness, this disease, at first is considered to be the result of a witchcraft. Nobody could have been sick without a witchcraft being involved. So, and people believe that because they believed in the Sangoma and the bone throwers more than they believed in science and in relativity, or in the fact that certain things could occur naturally. No. Everything that happened in among these people in general were always somehow linked to the bad doings of somebody. So we also witnessed the rise of xenophobia among black South Africans. It is clearly explained because black South Africans did believe in the fact that after Mandela's liberation, after the abolition of apartheid and the first democratic election, they were going to be rich or maybe enjoy the freedom and find jobs and their lives would change. But instead, what they saw was that professional black people from neighboring countries invaded them. That's how they felt it. That the foreigners were coming into their country, stealing their jobs, stealing their women, changing their culture, and spreading all kind of sicknesses that they'd never heard of before, even if it was already a kind of existing sickness that they weren't paying attention to because they were too busy blaming, you know, the elders for that. If you were too old in a village and your nephew or your niece died of an unknown sickness, it was certainly your fault. They had the sickness, but they didn't know about it, but they were quick to blame the foreigners because they had to find a reason to get rid of them, or they had to find a reason to excuse their xenophobic attitude toward all these black people. They even forgot that back in the days of apartheid, those neighboring countries used to welcome brothers and sisters who were fleeing the pains and the oppression of the government. They forget about that. They were focused on the fact that they were losing their jobs to these people. Even if they were uneducated, unable to properly, you know, like exercise those jobs, they didn't care about that. All they knew was that they wanted to get rid of those makwere as they named them. The writer, though he was himself a South African, he didn't take the easy route of just focusing on the bad doings of the white people during apartheid. We know that all these things that they're going through are somehow the consequences of all the oppression that they went through for years. But he was trying to really like turn the light on the black community, on the black people themselves, and tell them, look at you, or look at yourself and see the wrongs that you are doing. You are pretending to love African people, but you cannot stand them in your country, or you love them only if they succeed into beating European people, then they are good. But when they got a job and a situation in your country, you want to get rid of them by any means necessary, forgetting that those are your brothers and sisters, and these are people who fought for you or fought with you during the hard times of apartheid. This Refunse, I say that we will meet the first love of his life, and the narrator will tell us everything about their relationship, why they parted, where it led them, and we will even learn more about this woman that he used to love, what she becomes, etc. So the way it is done was very good. I read this book in just one sitting. It's short, 124 pages. It is clear, and the story is just, the storytelling is so easy to follow. It doesn't complicate himself. So if you're looking for any book dealing with post-apartheid South Africa, from the point of view of a black man, telling what was going on in the black community, not focusing on all the, all the things that were done during. If you want to know what the black people themselves were somehow thinking of the growing xenophobia, the spreading of HIV, the betrayal that they were going through, and the changes in their political system, etc., I will recommend this book. And it's very quick. It's very well done, and it's informative, and it raises a lot of questions. I'm also looking forward to seeing all my favorite South African booktuber read this book so we can discuss it, because it will be interesting to have the point of view of a South African citizen to discuss this one. The very first time I heard about the Makwerekwere was when I read Sunyati's Gold Digger, and every time I hear about xenophobia in South Africa, it's always often by foreigners living there, or who have been there and decided to leave because it was too xenophobic. So to see a black South African himself talk about it was quite interesting, even if I felt like it was too short. This book could have suffered 100 more pages. The author died when he was only 34 years old. It is thought that he himself died of HIV, but it is stated nowhere. We know that he died of a sudden death, that before he died, he was working on research from HIV and to see how he could eventually cure it traditionally. This writer could have been would have been a good or a great one in South Africa in terms of literature. This book is very good, so I highly recommend it. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, so voila. I highly recommend this one. If ever you have a chance to find a copy, give it a try. A very interesting book. That's all I had for you today. See you in another video. Bye-bye.